Hello everyone, I'm Shakubo. Today I will show you two ways to solve this puzzle. One is using Python to simulate, and the other is to solve in algebraic way. Okay, so what's the puzzle? The puzzle is shown in the figure. Two blocks with mass m and m. The spring is attached to m, and there's no friction exist. How long is the collision time? First, we have to analyze the question. Assume t equals 0 when m touches the spring. After a short period of time, both of them move right. We set the displacements are x1 and x2, and set the positive of each x-axis points to right. So v1 is the first derivative of x1, a1 is the second derivative of x1. We know the force of spring is F equals kx. And a1 is negative since the force from spring points to left, so we should choose x2 minus x1 at the right-hand side in order to guarantee both sides are negative. Because x1 should larger than x2 at the beginning of collision. Boom! We get the critical equation. The first method to solve this problem is using Python to simulate the movement of two objects. This method is easy to understand for high school students or even junior high school students. We first have to understand when will the collision end, then give program that condition, then let it calculate for us. So, as m still contacts with the spring, we set it's still in collision. According to the statement above, we can infer that collision is over when x2 is just larger than x1. So we set the condition to xm minus xm less than equals 0 in the while loop. Note that if we only write xm minus xm less than 0, then the program will not go into while loop, because xm equals 0 in the beginning. The next step is to calculate their displacement. If you slice the time into extremely short, then the velocity and acceleration can be seen as the same during that tiny mini time. So the new displacement is former displacement plus v dt. The velocity is analogous to displacement. Finally, just plug into the critical equation of acceleration, then everything is done. Since we adopt this concept, so every time the loop executes, another dt has passed. I mean, in the simulation world. So the total time of collision is dt multiplied by the iteration of while loop. We use I as the counter here. What's more, you can change the parameter of the head of the program, but the fact is, the time only depends on k and mu, and corresponds to theoretical value precisely. After the simulation using Python, let's see how to solve it in algebraic way. We first rewrite the equation as shown. Then, substitute x2 by x1, and plug it into the second equation. With some efforts, we can deduce a fourth-order ODE from above. Here, we rewrite the fraction as a to make it neat and clean. And the characteristic function as lambda to the power of 4, plus a times square of lambda. Here, I won't go through every detail of how to solve differential equation because that's a very big topic and I want to focus on this question. Please check out 3 Blue 1 Brown's video. There are many excellent videos about differential equations. But to explain briefly, the solution of lambda will give the form of the general solution of x1. Actually, the double root of 0 refers to c1 plus c2t, positive and negative square root of a times I, refers to sine and cosine terms. Differentiate x1 will get v1, then a1. And we can solve the whole differential equation by boundary condition. As we can see here, c1 and c3 are cancelled out. Again, make it nice and clean. Since we already know x2 can be represented by some terms of x1. Plug in a1 and x1 that we just derived from above. And make some arrangement will get us the last row of equation. I can feel that we are getting closer and closer to the answer. Using the boundary condition of velocity, we can solve c2 and c4. Boom! We get the equation of motion of two blocks. It tells you every detail you want. Let's look into the equation carefully. I believe everybody is familiar with the first term. That's the velocity of center mass. And the second term behaves like coupled oscillator. Notice that if m is stuck with the spring as soon as they touched, then the equations of motion are just as shown. If not, Then two blocks will separate with different speed after x1 equals x2. And the case we are talking about is the latter one. So the collision ends when square root of a times t equals to pi. Ta-da! We get the theoretical value which is equal to half of the period of coupled oscillator. Hope you enjoy my video. See you next time.